cousin decided to get married and pregnant with my toxic ex who sucked the life out of me 1 month after I filed a restraining order against him. 2 months into their marriage he's treating her even worse and tells her that he's still in love with me and no longer wants her. Now the entire family is against me. I should have warned her. I, 29 female, had a rough time with my ex Nate, 30 male. We were together for a while but it ended badly. He was very toxic and drained my energy. A little backstory. Nate seemed charming and supportive initially, but soon he started to control me, claiming it was out of care. He would constantly belittle my opinions and choices, making me feel like I could do nothing right. If I wanted to hang out with friends, he would guilt-trip me, saying I did not care about our relationship or that I was abandoning him. Gradually, he isolated me from everyone, making me feel like he was my only connection. Every decision I made revolved around keeping him happy and managing his moods. It was exhausting. Yet he somehow made me feel responsible for it all. The emotional manipulation was just as draining as his control. Whenever I tried to assert myself, he would twist it around and make me feel like I was the problem or too sensitive. He made me doubt my own feelings, twisting things to the point where I questioned my own reality. If I caught him lying or confronted him about something hurtful, he would either deny it or make me feel like I was overreacting. I was always on edge, scared of provoking his anger or facing his silent treatment. It completely wore me out, made me feel insignificant and left me doubting my self-worth. I finally found the strength to file a restraining order against him after realizing how dangerous and manipulative he was. It was a hard decision, but I knew I needed to protect myself. Now, let us talk about my cousin, Alexandra, 23, female, or as everyone calls her, Alex. She has always been close to me. She was like my baby sister. We grew up together and we were always very close, but I never thought she would get involved with someone like Nate. I had hoped she would have better judgment, but, as you might guess, that was not the case. 1 month after I filed a restraining order against Nate, Alex began dating Nate. Soon after, she was pregnant with his child. I was in disbelief and felt betrayed. It shocked me that she would choose him, especially knowing how he had treated me. I wanted to warn her about his true nature, but I knew it would not help. When people are in love, they often ignore the red flags, and Alex was completely smitten. I worried that if I spoke up, it might only push her closer to him. A few months later, they got married. I was invited to the wedding but chose not to attend. I could not stand the thought of seeing them together. My family did not understand why I skipped the wedding. They thought I would support Alex, but I just could not do it. I tried to explain my feelings, but they did not seem to understand how serious the situation was. After the wedding, things took a turn for the worse for Alex. About 2 months into their marriage, I heard from family members that Nate was treating her even worse than he had treated me. He belittled her and controlled her, which broke my heart. I felt guilty for not intervening sooner, but I did not want to meddle. I hoped Alex would realize the truth on her own. As time passed, I received more messages from family expressing concern for Alex. They thought I should have warned her about Nate and blamed me for not speaking up earlier. The pressure was overwhelming and I felt like the villain in this situation. How could they turn against me? I was the one who had been hurt, and now, because I did not act as the protective cousin, I was seen as the bad guy. Nate had started telling Alex that he was still in love with me, and that was the worst part. I could not believe it. This guy, whom I had tried so hard to get away from, was now playing with my cousin's feelings and making her doubt herself. The way he manipulated her was shocking. It felt like he was playing a cruel game and Alex was stuck in the middle. I remember the day I got to know what Nate said. I felt both angry and sad. How could he treat her like this? I wanted to warn her, but I felt trapped. Would she even listen to me? I began to think it might be better for her to find out on her own. It was a tough spot to be in. I did not want to lose her, but I also needed to protect myself from the consequences of their relationship. As the weeks went by, things got worse. Nate became more controlling and Alex was in a situation similar to mine. I noticed the warning signs, but would she? It felt like a nightmare I could not escape. It's a helpless feeling to watch someone you care about go through what you have already experienced, knowing the pain that awaits. Then I got a call from my family saying Alex was upset and needed someone to talk to. Part of me wanted to rush to her side, but I was also scared. What if she blamed me for her problems? What if she did not want to hear what I had to say? I took some time to think, but in the end, I knew I had to reach out. I wanted her to know I was there for her, even if it was just a text. The aftermath was worse than I expected. Instead of the support I wanted, Alex exploded at me, accusing me of not warning her about Nate and saying I was not a good cousin for not intervening sooner. Her words hit me hard. I had tried so hard to keep her safe while looking out for myself, and now she was blaming me for her decisions. I was overwhelmed with mixed feelings. Love for her, anger at her choices, sadness for her situation. I felt trapped, and no matter how much I tried to explain, she refused to listen. The rest of the family took her side, insisting I should have done more. They seemed to overlook the fact that I had dealt with Nate's toxic behavior for years. Tensions in the family grew. My parents urged me to reach out and mend things with Alex, not realizing I needed time to recover from my own pain. Meanwhile, Nate kept manipulating Alex and she seemed to sink deeper into the toxic cycle. I felt helpless just watching everything unfold. The family drama quickly escalated. One day, I got a message from one of our relatives saying Alex had confronted Nate, asking if he still loved me. He played it cool, claiming he loved her but also suggesting he had feelings for me. Alex was hurt and confused, just as I had feared. It felt like Nate was controlling everything and Alex was just a pawn in his game. I wanted to scream into a pillow. Why couldn't she see what he was doing to her? As time passed, the family's opinion of me became more negative. I started hearing comments like, "You should have stood up for your cousin." It felt so unfair, as if I was being blamed for something I could not control. I began to question if I should have warned her more clearly about Nate. Should I have taken the chance to tell her the truth? But would that have made a difference? She needed to realize it on her own. Everyone is continuously blaming me for not warning her. But shouldn't she have known better than this? Why did she start dating Nate after knowing how messed up everything was between him and me? She knew exactly how he treated me. She knew everything. Yet she decided to be with him in spite of knowing every detail. But now I'm sitting here questioning everything. Did I do the right thing by not warning her directly about Nate? Should I have stepped in more forcefully or was it better to let her learn on her own? I cannot shake this feeling of guilt knowing I could have potentially saved her from this pain. So here I am wondering Ida in this situation for not warning my cousin about how my ex is. Update 1. Hi, everyone. I thought I would update everyone on whatever's happening. Things have been getting worse and I feel really terrible. The advice and support I got from my last post was incredibly helpful. Even though some of it was tough to hear, it is nice to know that people understand how complicated and heavy this situation is. Here is what has happened since then. A few weeks ago, Alex had a baby boy. I wish I could say this brought joy to the family, but it has only added more stress and sadness. While everyone is excited about the new baby, it is clear that Alex's relationship with Nate is very unstable. She rarely shares updates and when she does, they're short and cautious. Since the baby arrived, she seems even more distant. I'm not sure if she's just busy or if Nate is controlling her even more. Either way, her isolation is concerning for the family, especially since she has not asked for help even with a newborn. To make things worse, we recently learned from a family friend that Nate has started to threaten Alex over the smallest things. When I heard this, it felt like someone had stabbed me. I knew Nate was controlling and manipulative. He had treated me that way for years, but now he has crossed a serious line with Alex. I felt sick, angry and powerless all at once. Part of me is horrified that it has come to this. The other part feels guilty, wondering if I could have done something to prevent it by warning her more directly. I tried to stay out of her choices, but now I cannot stop thinking that if I had done more, maybe she would not be in this situation. Alex's reaction to everything has been really hard to watch. She continues to defend him, saying he's just overwhelmed and stressed as a new dad or that he's going through a rough time. It feels like she's trapped in a cage that Nate has created and it is painful to see. Each time she defends him, it seems like she's falling deeper under his influence, accepting his excuses and convincing herself that she is to blame for his actions. It is distressing and it brings back memories for me of feeling like everything was my fault, thinking that if I changed something, things would get better. I am unsure how to reach her or if she even wants to hear the truth. Family members, including me, have thought about reporting Nate. We have discussed calling the police or social services, especially with a child involved. But every time we mention it, Alex shuts us down and she insists that intervening will only make things worse and is afraid of what Nate might do if he finds out we contacted the authorities. It is clear she's scared and keeps asking us to stay out of it, claiming she can handle it herself. I feel stuck. I know she is in denial, but I do not want to force her into something she's not ready for. I genuinely worry about how Nate might react if we go against her wishes. I'm not sure if acting behind her back would actually help or just make things worse. This situation is bringing back all the pain I went through with Nate. Watching her go through what I experienced has stirred up many memories, some I thought I had moved past. I cannot shake the feeling that Nate still has some control over my life even after all this time apart. The suffering he's causing Alex keeps haunting me. No matter how hard I try to distance myself, I cannot escape the harm he's still inflicting on the people I care about. I know that is exactly what he wants, to maintain this power over both of us. I'm also frustrated with myself for feeling so conflicted. I want to support Alex, but I do not know how to help her when she will not acknowledge what's happening. Every time I try to reach out, she either shuts me out or changes the topic. It's draining. I wanted to see that she has choices and can find a way out, but whenever I try to show her that path, she shuts it down. I understand she's scared, but I feel powerless against her denial. She seems to be holding on to the hope that he will change, and I know from my own experience how harmful that hope can be. It keeps you stuck in a cycle, thinking that if you just wait a little longer, things will get better. But I know that rarely happens. While I'm going through all of this, my family seems to be turning against me. They keep suggesting that I should have warned Alex more forcefully or acted sooner. It feels like they believe I can fix everything, but she saw everything he did to me and she still chose to date him. It is tiring to be questioned or blamed for not doing enough. They seem to forget that I also suffered with Nate and now they want me to be a hero. I am doing my best to support her, but I am not sure how much more I can handle. The more they pressure me, the more I feel overwhelmed. I do not think they understand how hard it is for me to relive this pain. Now, with the baby involved, I feel even more responsible. I'm not just worried about Alex, I'm scared for her son. Nate is already showing his true nature and I fear that one day, Alex's son might see or even experience his father's anger. I want to protect them both, but I am unsure how to do that without overstepping or making things worse for her. It is a constant struggle between respecting her choices and wanting to save her from this difficult situation. I wish I could reach out to her, but every attempt seems to push her further under Nate's influence. I have had countless sleepless nights thinking about all the what-ifs. What if I had done more to help her? What if I go against her wishes now? What if he becomes more dangerous and I did not do enough to stop it? I feel haunted by the fear of regretting every choice I make, no matter what I decide. It breaks my heart to see her believe she can fix Nate. I want to help, but I'm afraid I will lose her trust if I push her to face the truth. Yet, I cannot just sit back and act like everything is fine when it is not. So here I am feeling stuck and unsure. I'm trying to handle this carefully, but I'm scared of making a mistake. If anyone has advice on how to deal with this, especially with Alex's son involved, I would really appreciate it. I don't want to look back and feel like I let her or her child down. Thank you for all the support and any guidance you can provide. Update 2. Hi everyone. I did not think I would be writing again so soon, but things have become even more complicated since my last update. It has been really tiring and overwhelming, but I hope that sharing this will help me sort through a few things. I want to thank everyone who has supported me. Your encouragement means a lot to me. To update you, I recently learned that my cousin, Alex's husband, Nate, has continued his abusive and manipulative behavior, even as Alex tries to keep their family together for their child. I always knew Nate was toxic, but when he started cheating on Alex, I thought that would finally push her to leave him. It did not happen. Even after she found out about the affair, she chose to stay, believing it was better for their son to grow up in a two-parent home, no matter how dysfunctional. I could see her struggling to accept this, but I knew it was hurting her deeply. She wanted to maintain the idea of a family and provide stability for her child even if it meant sacrificing her own happiness. As hard as it was to see, I tried to support her choice. It was her life and I did not want to pressure her into anything. I understood how difficult it could be to break free from Nate's control. However, it soon became clear that staying with him was causing more harm than good. Nate did not change. He got worse. He started using her decision to stay as a way to control her even more, mocking her for being too weak to leave and constantly reminding her that he could do whatever he wanted because she would not leave him. Things took a terrible turn when Alex finally opened up to me about Nate threatening their child. They had a really bad argument and I think Alex was starting to stand up for herself. But Nate would not allow it. He warned her that if she ever left him or thought about taking their son, she would regret it. He did not say it directly, but Alex understood the threat well enough to feel scared. She realized she was not just protecting herself anymore, she was also protecting her son from a man who seemed willing to hurt her to keep control. That night, Alex called me and I could tell something was very wrong. She was crying and trying to speak softly. All she could say was that she needed help. I did not ask questions. I just told her to pack a bag, take her son and wait. And I went to pick them up and I brought them to my house right away. It felt unreal, like a scene from a nightmare. I never wanted this for Alex. I never wanted her to face anything like what I went through. When I finally noticed her, she looked completely exhausted as if she had not slept or eaten in days. Her son was quiet and seemed to sense that something was very wrong. It broke my heart to see her like this. I had always seen her as my little sister, someone I wanted to protect. Watching her struggle to hold it together for her son filled me with sadness and anger, but I tried to remain calm. I knew that the best thing I could do was to support her and help her through this tough time. The first thing we did was sit down and make a plan. I did not want her to have any reason to go back to him. So we went over every step she would need to take to ensure her safety and her son's. We gathered all the evidence we could find of Nate's abusive behavior. Alex had kept some text messages and recordings that showed his manipulation and threats, which we knew would be important for both a police report and a potential custody case. It was extremely hard for her to go over all the details again, but she was incredibly strong. determined to do whatever it took to protect her child. We filed a police report that night detailing every incident, every threat, every lie that Nate had used to control her. It was hard for Alex to relive it all. She knew she had to do this for herself and her child. It was like she was finally taking back control. After filing the police report, we moved on to the next step, filing for divorce. I helped her find a lawyer. I was so happy and proud of her for standing up for herself for so long. It was like she was trapped in Nate's cage. She was convinced that staying was her only option. Now she was fighting back. And though I knew the road ahead would be difficult, I also knew that she was finally free, or at least on her way to freedom. However, even as she was taking these steps, our family continued to add to the stress. Some relatives were supportive, but others could not understand why Alex was overreacting. They could not understand how messed up, toxic, abusive, and manipulative Nate was. They saw this as a family matter that could be worked out if everyone just put in a little more effort. It infuriated me, but I focused on Alex. She needed all the support she could get and I was determined to give her that, no matter what anyone else thought. In the following days, Alex and her son moved in with me and I noticed a clear change in her attitude. She appeared lighter, as if a burden had been removed. However, there were still times when she looked scared and confused, showing that she was having a hard time processing everything that had happened. I suggested she start therapy, and she agreed, knowing it would take time for her to recover from the trauma. Her son, not even a year old, was also adjusting. As time passed, Alex's confidence began to increase. She started sharing her future plans and dreams she had not thought about while with Nate. She wanted to create a loving, safe and supportive environment for her son, things Nate had taken from her. She even mentioned going back to school and finding a stable job to support herself independently. It was uplifting to see her starting to believe in her own strength. Yet, despite her progress, there were still times when Alex seems affected by her past. I can understand how hard it must be for her. It will take her time to completely recover. I cannot blame her. I have not completely recovered from the trauma Nate gave me either, but at least she is free now. We still have a lot to figure out: legal battles, custody issues and the long, painful process of recovery. But Alex is finally taking control of her life and I could not be prouder of her for finding the courage to leave. I know she has a long road ahead and I will be by her side every step of the way, helping her rebuild her life piece by piece. Update 3. Hello, everyone. I'm back with another update and this time, there is some good news. The past few months have been quite a ride, but things are finally settling down. To get straight to the point, Nate has agreed to divorce Alex. It is surprising given how hard he has tried to control her for so long. However, it seems his decision is more about his own selfish needs than any sense of being fair. Nate is already with another girl, who is 19 by the way, and she's basically worshipping him. He appears to have moved on from Alex and their newborn child. For her, this is a huge relief and knowing she will not have to deal with him any longer feels like a significant win. He made it clear that he wants nothing to do with their son. It's a little sad but not unexpected. Nate told Alex he does not want to be a father or have any relationship with their child. He will pay child support, though, but only because he legally has to, not because he cares. I can see how much this affects Alex even though she expected him to be distant. She understands how hard it will be to raise her son alone, knowing Nate wants no part in his life. However, this separation might actually be a hidden blessing. With Nate gone, Alex can create a loving and healthy home for her son without his negative influence. While the financial support helps, she is determined to provide for her son on her own terms, knowing she will be his main source of stability. Despite the difficulties, Alex is thriving. She has made significant progress in taking back her life and future, growing stronger with each step. Her confidence is returning, and she is rediscovering the dreams and passions she had set aside. One of those dreams is to earn a college degree, which she is now actively pursuing. She is exploring programs and has contacted a few schools. It is inspiring to see her making her own choices and carving out her own path. She's creating a life where she and her son can flourish away from the negativity and control that Nate brought with him. With each plan she makes, she becomes more confident that she can succeed. And I truly believe she can. I am so proud of her and thankful to have been there to support her, and I will continue helping her with her son. Right now, we are focusing on each day with her, prioritizing her son and their future. It's challenging, but she is one of the strongest people I know. Being just 24, taking care of a newborn child and pursuing a degree must be one of the hardest things ever, but she is managing it beautifully. I have no doubt she will build the life she deserves. Thank you all for being part of this journey and for your encouraging words. I am relieved that Alex has found a way forward and is getting better. Update 4. Hey everyone. I'd like to share another unexpected update with you all, especially since you've been so supportive through all of this. I thought you would want to know the latest information, which has been both surprising and honestly a relief. I got a call from a friend with some shocking news. Nate has been arrested. I was in disbelief. It turns out that several other girls he dated have also come forward with complaints against him. It seems like his past finally caught up with him, and this time, he could not talk his way out of it. This is such a relief because he has caused a lot of pain, not just for me or Alex, but for many others too. I have heard that Nate has been sentenced to several years. I'm not sure how long exactly, but honestly, it does not matter now. What matters is that he is out of our lives for good. I can finally relax knowing he cannot hurt or manipulate anyone else. It feels like a huge burden has been lifted, and I hope this brings some peace to the other girls he affected as well. They deserve it just as much as we do. On a brighter note, Alex is doing fantastic. After everything she faced, it is amazing to see her thriving. She got into a great school and is studying what she has always wanted. It's a relief to know she's focused on her future and not letting the past hold her back. She has come so far and I'm really proud of her. Not only is she excelling in school, but she's also dating a really nice guy. He treats her with kindness and respect, which is exactly what she deserves after her experiences with Nate. Let us not overlook her little boy. He is doing wonderfully. It's amazing to see him grow up healthy and joyful. Alex is such a loving, dedicated mom, and it really shows. They're living with me, and seeing her boy grow up feels like the best thing ever. I wanted to share this news with you all because your support has been incredible during this time.